Welcome back to episode 73 of Tall Boy Radio. If you've been following our social media feed, then you know that we're going to change it up a little bit from this episode and going forward to try and give it a bit of a different edge. Interestingly enough, this is going into the second year of us podcasting together. So 12 months ago today, you guys joined what was the old Beans to Stuff podcast and formed Tall Boy Radio. So we've been doing this for 12 months. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, but time's flown.
It has flown. It has flown.
Literally has flown. It's cool. Didn't expect when we first started, in a way, to still be doing it sort of 12 months down the line, but it's brilliant.
No, and to be in as many countries as we are, but we're not saying how many. We're not saying how many.
We're not allowed to.
No, because there is a competition where you can win some TBR goodies. So don't forget to comment on this video or on this podcast if you listen to the audio version and let us know how many countries you think we'll be in. But first, as we always do, let's go around the room and introduce ourselves and tell us a little bit about what we're drinking this time.
Hi guys, brilliant to be back. We've had a couple of weeks off due to various sort of holidays and stuff recording wise, so great to be back. Looking forward to this, as Adam has alluded to, slightly different sort of setup that we've got going this week, so I hope you will enjoy it out there. I am drinking, and for those of you watching, a Stone Gold Stunner, which, if you can see, has three stunningly good looking guys on the bottle. And it's one of ours. It's basically a beer that was created for us, and I'm drinking it out of a TBR official merch. And it's quite dark. I say mine looked fractionally darker than Adam's, actually.
You say it's dark, mine's dark.
But whether it should be or it shouldn't be, it's drinkable. It's not the best golden ale I've ever drank, if I'm honest. But it's drinkable. So the next batch hopefully will be a little better. That's me. Looking forward to this.
Andy?
Howdy. I've gone for the same drink.
I see that.
I've left mine in the fridge for about a week, so it's nice and chilled in a TBR glass and all that. But I've also got a double trouble whiskey as well, just for good measures, and I might pour it in there in a bit as well.
Probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Liven it up.
Why not on a school night?
That's it. And just like these guys, I'm also drinking the Stone Gold Stunner with the three handsome chaps there on the front. Now, this beer is produced by Stewart Brewing in Edinburgh. So if you are familiar with them, and if you've ever tasted their Edinburgh Gold beer, it's not too dissimilar to that, given that it's probably exactly the same beer, and it's just bottled for us with our label on it. It ranks on Untapped as around about 3.8, I guess. So if we're saying it's okay, then I guess 3.8 out of 5 is an okay rating. Yeah. And it's 23 IBU, so it's not a particularly bitter one for a golden ale. But like I say, it's got that nice golden straw colour to it. Smells all right, but it doesn't pack the punch that I'd hope it would with the flavour, to be honest.
There wasn't quite the... You drink some and you taste it and it's a little bit like, oh yeah, I can definitely taste that, or I can definitely taste that. It's as I say, it's drinkable, it's pleasant, but there's no punchy particular taste that you can pick up.
No. Tease you up for your next beer, like, quite nicely.
Yes, tease you up for next beer quite nicely, yes.
It's a good palate cleanser. Now, we sent one of these up to Dave as well, and for Double Trouble Drinks, because obviously he's been really good to us over the podcast, giving us a few tasting packs to try. We've had his rum, we've had his vodka and his gin, and his pink gin on it, and as Andy alluded to earlier, we tried his whiskey live on the podcast for the first time, and that one is really good. So we sent him up a beer to say thanks for all his support over the years. So, like we said, we're going to do something a little bit different. So we're going to kick off, and it's going to be a regular feature now with a little bit of beer news. So who wants to go first and share some news from the world of beer?
Go on, Andy, you kick us off.
Oh, okay. I think there's been a few rumblings on Twitter and stuff like that about shenanigans going on with Brewdog. I think they're saying the general gist of it is saying it's a horrible work environment. Like the perceived notion of what Brewdog is like to what actually working there is like supposed to be quite different, such as workplace bullying, long hours, just a toxic environment. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you guys think about that. I find it quite surprising to a degree because I thought the advertising and social media is quite good. That's probably how they built the business.
Yeah, they've probably done quite a good job of not masking it. That's the wrong phrase, but sort of branding their beer to be sort of clean and crisp and this and that, and you associate that with good work practices and all of that sort of thing. Environmentally friendly sourcing of ingredients and all of that. Whereas, actually, as you say, you read. So you read some of the stuff, and it's like, it's a bit like the beer equivalent of Sports Direct, isn't it? Sort of thing.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
Sorry, Mike, if you're listening, by the way.
But it started off it was an open letter, wasn't it, signed by 50 ex-employees, talking about the harassment that they'd suffered, the pressure to get their job done in an effective way, and then it sort of snowballed a little bit once it was on, and it's now got 250 signatures on it. So it certainly seems something that is
something's amiss, isn't it?
Yeah, something's rife, and like you say, they have a knack of portraying themselves as being a very modern, forward-looking company, and yet that sort of approach is very backwards.
Well, it's interesting because as part of my section a little bit later in the sort of the revamp, I will mention Brewdog in a slightly different guise, and you would associate them as being, oh right, okay, I say new world, modern world, moving forward, and you read some of those things, and it's like, oh, actually, is that the case?
Yeah. I mean, they have responded. I think his name is James Watt. He's the CEO of the company. He had responded. And I think, to be fair, he took a little bit of ownership for it and sort of owned up and said, we'll look at it. We'll try and get better. I think he did make a bit of a remark, though, about, people with different strengths of people in the business. And I thought that probably didn't sit particularly well. It sort of implied that the weak were cut from the chaff, as it were, and certainly not the image that ties in with them.
Well, of course, if you're in a business, in a way, there's a place for the Chiefs and the Indians, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's a place, and to sort of turn around and sort of, I said maybe derogatory, depending on how you perceive the comments to be made, as though like, actually, it's only the strongest that'll survive, and in any workplace environment that's got warehouses and bulk, you've got, what, mate, if you take that from there to there, and if he does that and he can follow this, perfect. And I sort of got the impression it's just a bit like, he wasn't quite good enough for us, therefore we're going to wheedle him out, sort of thing. And it's great that he took ownership of it, and it's great that he's come out and he's made some comments based on what people are saying, but I don't know, maybe it's PR company, maybe he's hiring PR company, I don't know.
Well, like you say, they're good with PR, so it'd be interesting to see what happens.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Well, interestingly, obviously on and I suppose in a way, while we're talking about Brewdog, there's obviously the reduction in their alcohol sort of content or ABV or whatever in there. Excuse me, was it Elvis juice or whatever it was? Yeah,
the punk's not terrible. I think the punk's dropped by 0.2, and it's not too bad there still. But the Elvis juice, they just ruined it.
Yeah.
Absolutely ruined it.
Yeah.
6.5 down to 5.1.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's lost all its body.
No punchiness, it just, and you still get the sort of, the citrusy, the flavours, but it's just not quite there, is it? No. And it's weird because we were sort of talking about it. We were sitting around and we came over and we had a couple of beers and it was just like, it's just not quite the same. And I don't know whether that was. I don't know why that decision's been made, if I'm honest.
No, I'd be interested.
But it'd be interesting to see whether or not other breweries, other companies are sort of doing the same. Are they all dropping their alcohol? I don't know.
Some of the larger companies have Stella. When you think about it, used to be 5.2. It's now 4.8.
And then they released a Stella 4, which was a 4% or whatever it was, wasn't it?
There are a few that have done it, and I don't like to see it too much. You get used to a beer, and I'm sure it's related to the certainly the duty in this country where you pay a certain amount. I think it is over 5%. You have to pay extra duty on that.
Right. Yeah. Well.
So that might be part of the decision. I don't know. Anyway, so did you have any more to add on that? Sorry, Andy.
I was just going to say, I like the percentage being high, just for the fact that it weeds the people out. Like a lot of people that just drink just to get smashed tend to not buy the more expensive beers.
Yeah.
A bit of a snobbish sort of thing to say, but the stronger it is, the more you just drink it. You don't chug it down your throat.
But for them, for those people, it's sort of quantity, not quality. Whereas if it's a slightly higher sort of percentage, actually you enjoy drinking it more. You're not just necessarily drinking it, as I say, just like chug it down. You know what I mean? So,
and lowering your percentage enters you into that market where, they'll probably sell more, possibly. I don't know. And if it's the tax thing as well, then that's more money. But what about us drinkers that like alcohol?
That's it, just charge more for it. People are happy to pay it nowadays, aren't they, for the most part? So
the special edition TBR brew, that's what they need to do.
Exactly. Well, maybe not. But so here's a bit of news for you. So we're all fans of Beavertown here, aren't we? We like the Beavertown beers. They've got a new beer that's coming out as well soon, and it's based on their Gamma Ray beer, and it's called Troppy Gamma. So it is a fruity pale ale, 5.4%. With fruit in it, guys. You like beer that's flavoured with fruit, don't you?
Certain fruit's okay, but one in particular is not brilliant.
Will you be pleased to know there's no pineapple in it?
Perfect. Sign me up. Where can I get some?
I don't know, but I do want to try it. It's guava, pink papaya, mango, mandarin, and peach. I'm not a big fan of peach, but I've had a few peach beers that have tasted pretty decent over the years. But that sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, anything without pineapple in it's pretty good, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, while I was looking into this as well, here's an interesting fact about Beavertown. Do you know who their founder is?
James Beaver.
Funnily enough, no, but that would make sense. It's a chap by the name of Logan Plant, and he is the son of the Led Zeppelin guitarist Robert Plant. Yeah.
No way.
True story. Yeah.
Seriously?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I thought it was quite interesting.
See, we're educating on TBR as well.
I tell you what, we have our moments. Anyone else got any news they want to share?
No, I'm gonna not specifically. Sort of, I'm gonna wait for my bit for the next section, as we say. So yeah.
Well, the one other bit of news that I was reading about beer was a chap by the name of Declan Rice. Are you familiar with him?
Oh, yeah, Declan Rice, yeah. Actually, you know what? Now you mention that, why did I not think of that?
That's Declan.
What was he, 23? 22.
Yeah. So obviously claims to have never had a beer, but he did say if England win the Euros, I think it's probably a safe bet that he still won't have had a beer by this time.
No, we were okay against Croatia, to be fair.
Yeah, why speak for yourself? I'm Welsh. I followed Wales. Didn't do so well against Switzerland.
Didn't do so well against Switzerland.
No. So if he is going to have a first beer, do you think we should send him a bottle of Stone Gold Stunner to say, here you go, son, well done?
I would be amazed if he's not already inundated with companies saying, here, have our first beer. I thought you were going to ask if he's going to have his first beer, which beer would we suggest he has?
Yeah. Well, I was, then I thought, actually...
A Stone Gold Stunner.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not so sure. To be fair, it might be the only beer he drinks.
Yeah, to be fair, it might send him back to teetotality.
But yeah, which beer? Yeah, and I never. You mentioned Declan then, and when the first story came out, I was a bit like, really? What, you've never had?
Quite difficult to believe that.
Come on, dude. Seriously, you must have hung around some street corner drinking bloody White Lightning or something, or back in your day, or some Diamond White or something.
It must have been on a few when he signed for West Ham.
Bottle of Thunderbird or something back in 2020. Do you remember that back?
Don't 2020. I'd like to try some of that now, actually.
Actually, might be better now.
Yeah, it might be.
But I find it a bit hard to believe. But look, if he has fair play, and if we do win it, then he'll have every cause to celebrate. I would obviously point him towards a Huygarden or a Leffe or maybe Delirium. That'll be a shout. You'd have to go for something quite weighty and meaty, wouldn't you? Yeah, you couldn't give him just like a disrespect like Carling or anything. No disrespect to Carling. They're a fantastic brewery and relatively local to us. So blah, blah.
That's true. And they have a lion as their logo. It is the three lions there. So
Oh yeah. There you go. See, yeah.
Right then. So that's news. We're going to be doing that every single week. We'll flow through it every time. We won't be announcing it. It's just to keep you informed on what we're doing because it's a little bit different to the way we've always done it. The next section that we then will be adding each week is the ABC of beer. A being all market, B being Belgian, and C being craft. So Gaz is going to be leading sort of the all market beer all around the world, whichever way you want to call it. So we'll let Gaz go next and tell you a little bit about what that entails. Then on to Andy with the Belgian and myself with the craft. And we're going to do that every single week.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about all around the world or all markets. As I say, so said it's the ABC. So whether or not I end up going first every week, I don't know. With being ABC, we did joke about maybe doing a CBA. Although there's connotations with that. And it was actually a comment that I don't know whether it was me and Adam that were talking, and he mentioned the Toddcast, and he mentioned Todd and Johnny Sparkles from the Toddcast, and he mentioned sort of non-alcoholic beer, and it sort of got me thinking. And I know that Johnny Sparkles has said that he hasn't really drank anything other than non-alcoholic beer for about a year. And there was also, he suggested he was going to drink loads of non-alcoholic beers and then take a breathalyzer and see what happens and stuff. And it just got me thinking about, in a way, non-alcoholic beer, because I haven't really thought about it that much before. I know certain breweries sort of do their non-alcoholic beer and stuff, but what constitutes non-alcoholic beer, Andy? Do you know what percentage is non-alcoholic beer?
It's below 1, isn't it?
Yeah, be like so 0.5 basically.
Sorry,
So
below 5%.
Yeah, in Andy's scale, it's below 5%. But yeah, so non-alcoholic beer is classed as 0.5 or less. And I remember reading an article, and they were actually talking about, and it was in America, the proliferation of non-alcoholic bars, and they were opening up literally non-alcoholic bars. And what they were saying was that it's not just non-beer drinkers that were going; it's beer drinkers that were going because they want a good time. But they don't want the hangover. And it was actually and it got me thinking about, would us three ever consider going to a non-alcoholic bar? If the flavour was the same and the quality of the beer, quote, was the same, and you didn't necessarily notice the alcohol content, would you consider going?
It's an interesting question. The answer should be yes.
It should be yes, shouldn't it? If it tastes the same and the atmosphere is the same and the environment's the same, you just don't wake up with a stonking hangover.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's a long, long time since I drank so much that I woke up with a really bad hangover. Yeah. But that's there is that nice little feeling of a buzz when you've had a few beers or you moved on to the whiskey, as Andy's going to do shortly. It just gives you that nice little bit of warmth, and it puts you. I always find it puts me in a better mood. So I don't know that I'll be honest. When obviously I've got 2 kids, so when you get into around about that sort of time when it's time for them to give. For the wife to give birth, I gave up beer for a month before, just in case the little blighters came early. Yeah, neither of them did, and I'll be honest. I remember we went out.
Were you pegging for a beer?
Yeah, basically a big style. But we went out one night. We did. Me, you, and Dave did the quiz.
Yeah.
And I drove and I drank Heineken non-alcohol. Which, got to be honest, it's not too bad. Yeah. It's not a million miles away from the original Heineken. I can't remember what it was that Johnny Sparkle says he drinks now, but he drinks one that he says you would not tell. It tastes like a light beer.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because like I say, I do like the stronger beers.
Andy, so if there was a bar that did, and I know they don't, but let's say there was a Delirium or Duvel or whatever, a Grimbergen or whatever that was, I say exactly the same, you probably can't, but very, very, very similar taste, but with no alcohol. Is it just, what I'm trying to say is it the alcohol that attracts you there, or is it the taste and the atmosphere and the environment and all of that?
It's just like going to a vegetarian restaurant, isn't it?
And I can tell from the disdain in your voice.
I've obviously driven a few times, so I've tried some non-alcoholic beers. So Erdinger, the non-alcoholic ones, like Blue Label. I had about 4 bottles of it, and I felt ill. Like when you just drink so much of the same stuff, you're just like,
your body to shut you down, thinking, I'm craving alcohol. Where is it? Is that what it works?
I was like Bender at Futurama, like, I need alcohol now. But it's just like, you drink, like, maybe it's just that particular brand, but I just felt like, you just drink the same drink over and over again. You start feeling a bit like, I need to drink something else now. Yeah. When you get to a pub, though, what do you drink? There's like water, Coke, orange juice or something like that. It's like,
well, it's interesting because what they were saying was that there was a bar in, I want to say it might have been Tokyo, but it could have been America. When I was doing the research, and they said basically it shut down after. I might have been Australia actually. They said they shut down after about 4 or 5 months because people were just going there drinking water. It was a non-alcoholic bar, and they were doing like loads of like mocktails and stuff. But actually, people went there, and they just ended up just drinking water. And they were like, and they said there was a $15 effectively that surcharge. So when it's like an entry charge. And it's like, so I'm paying $15 to get into this place and I'm just drinking water. It's like, yeah, surprisingly, they shut down. It's like, yeah, they've got their sort of whole marketing bit all wrong there, haven't they?
But, I think so.
Australians, like, spending $15 to get in here. I'm not paying anything else.
yeah, but it's weird because in the US, and I suppose this is where my research is going, and so in the US, say US sales of non-alcoholic drinks have gone up by 44% from last year.
Oh, wow.
That's not over 10 years. That's over so from last year. So they've nearly doubled from last year. So you're thinking there has to be some sort of movement in terms of people wanting this particular these drinks. And when you look at mocktails or smoothies or whatever, and actually, I mean, I'll talk about it a bit later. But it's worth $18 billion to the US economy, which is like stupid numbers,
that's
really.
Insane, yeah. That's really quite impressive.
And you know, you do a bit of research, and there's more and more and more bars, and obviously lots of bars offer non-alcoholic alternatives, but there's more and more bars just offering non-alcoholic drinks. And what they were saying was basically that people go there for the social aspect, because if you've got a driver, they don't want to be left out. They don't want to feel as though they're being left out. So people, you know, you've got a group of people that drink. You've got the one designated driver. They're drinking Coke or water or J2O or whatever it was, but they don't feel as though they want to be left out. So actually, everybody goes to this one place, and it's more of a social gathering as opposed to let's just get pissed in the nicest sort of way. And what they're saying is that the improvement in the taste of non-alcoholic beers from years ago is actually, yes, you could, you know, the hardened drinker like Andy could probably tell the difference, but for your passing maybe drinking, they might not necessarily know the difference. So actually, is that something that you would do? You'd rock up there, and this is a test that I might consider giving when, you know, Andy can sit around and say, actually, you know what, do a blind test and say which one of them is alcoholic and which one isn't, and see whether you can. And said, okay, if I served you up 4 pints of that in a pub, would you drink it? If I served you up 4 pints of that in a pub, would you drink it?
That's interesting.
And that's actually quite a nice little experiment to say, why would you go with that one or not that one?
Because Left do an 0% as well.
You see, I haven't had that.
Yeah,
I haven't had that.
But yeah, that's true. Yeah, who knows? You could have.
I could have done. Yeah. Well, hold on. Just let me check the bottle. No, that definitely says 6.6.
Winner.
But no, because I was, you know, I say you look at non-alcoholic and stuff, and obviously, you know, wives and girlfriends. Oh, you drink, and when you go out, you drink, and have a non-alcoholic drink. Oh, really? I don't know whether. Just don't know. So, I mean, the UK market is £12.9 billion, and is continued. And it expected to continue to increase over. Yeah, so I don't know. It was just a curious sort of, would you?
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. We'll out. We'll do that taste test. That'll be quite interesting.
Yeah, well, we'll do that.
That'll be quite interesting to find out. Cheers for that, dude. That was a good insight. And also, at some point in the very near future, hopefully, maybe even next week, we're going to get Todd and Johnny on this podcast, so we can put a few questions in. He can tell us about his love for a non-alcoholic beer.
Absolutely.
Andy?
So going from the opposite, from not, it's a Belgian beer. Grimbergen have opened a microbrewery in one of the Abbey, Grimbergen Abbey, and they haven't done it for 200 years. So some limited edition beers, not available in the UK at the minute. It's in like France and Germany and all the other places that we're not part of EU anymore. But
the good places.
Yeah.
They've done 3 different types. So like a quadruple, pale ale, and like a brut beer, which is like a blondish sort of blunt beer. So hopefully next year I'll be on the road and drink. Well, Mrs. can drive and I'll be drinking them.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, that'll be that. And is it brewed by? Is it a monastery beer, that one? So is it brewed by monks?
No.
No.
part of the Carlsberg group or something like
Oh yeah, I read the Cosmic do have a mistake in it though. Yeah.
that. Yeah. But yeah, there's all sorts of news going on in Belgium. Like there's a bit of a fight about some Abbey water as well. I can't remember which brewery it was, but they normally use this like natural spring nearby, but some building company wants to build next to it or something like that. It's going to taint the water, so Belgian beer would be different. I will be upset. Physically upset.
Oh, fair play, fair play. The other thing I read about Grimbergen as well, dude. So if you are taking that road trip, maybe we should come along with you. They're going to have like a visitor centre that they're building there as well, so you can actually take that Grimbergen experience.
Yeah, I mean it's funny. When I lived there, I had to go to Grimbergen to get my ID card. Didn't even think about going to the brewery. I literally went to this office, got my ID card, and got on the bus back. I was like, "What an idiot!" It's like on my first.
You got to the end and thought, "Now I'll just turn around and go back again."
Well, I was with two guys that didn't drink, so I think
send them to a non-alcoholic beer. There you go. You see.
Yeah, I should have just gone. Get away! I'm here.
Did Grimbergen do a 0%? You could have stuck them on that.
I don't know. I don't want it popping up in the search history, so I'm not going to check.
Yeah, I can imagine. You'd be concerned about
strong beer, meat.
Absolutely. And then finally, onto my section is craft beer, which obviously encompasses microbreweries and all that. So I wanted to talk about one of my favourite beers, which I've got to take the taste away of this beer that we're drinking right now. It's not too bad. But yeah, so I've got a bottle of Titanic Plum Porter.
You do love that, don't you?
I do love this beer. You do love that.
And to be fair, I would put that as certainly in your top 5, maybe your top 3 beers.
Definitely. And in fact, my cousin Bo, my cousin Bo is coming over from Texas, hopefully, as long as lockdown and everything allows, in August. And he messaged me, there's a couple of beers he wanted to try. Obviously, one of them was Titanic Plum Porter. The other one,
Stone Gold.
I've saved him a bottle of that regardless. He perhaps won't thank me for it. No, honestly, it's okay. And no, it was Delirium was the other bottle. I do think you can get it in the States. I'm sure I've had it in Vegas.
Don't know. Not Vegas today. And the Italian.
Yeah. Yeah,
you go. You see,
I'm pretty sure you can.
I don't think New York or somewhere like that.
Yeah, I do think that Delirium is fairly big in certain bars over there. So anyway, Titanic Plum Porter. Yeah, guys, I would definitely say it's my top 3, if not my favourite beer of all time. I do love that beer. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Titanic's Brewery, which is actually a stone's throw from here. It's actually less than 10 miles from my house and less than 1.4 miles from where I was born in Burslem.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So where in Burslem were you born?
I was born in Haywood.
The Haywood, yeah. So High Lake,
yeah. So it used to be a maternity ward. It isn't now. I wasn't just born there randomly. It was a thing. It was a facility that they offered. My mum wasn't in for a crooked toenail or something, and just popping around. Absolutely. And obviously Titanic. It's on Lingard Street in Burslem. And the reason why it's called Titanic, obviously, it's a fairly famous boat. It was made a fairly unsuccessful voyage across the Atlantic. But Captain E.J. Smith was from Stoke.
Absolutely, he was.
The Pottery Centre, you'll see.
Yeah, one of the most famous Stokies, I suppose.
Well, yeah, again, the Stokie's not known for their levels of success in the world, are they?
Robbie might have something to say.
Yeah, Robbie might say that, don't we? So if you are listening, Robbie.
Stanley Matthews, maybe.
Stanley Matthews again, yeah. To name but 2. Any others?
Gordon Banks.
Yeah, go on. I'll take it back.
I'm struggling now to go to 3.
Three's enough. I'll give you 2 more then. Keith and David Bott are 2 Stokies, and they bought Titanic Brewery. So it was founded in 1985, and these 2 guys bought it a couple of years ago. Yeah, only 85. It's been around less than we have. And back then, it only offered 1 beer, and that was Titanic Premium, which they still make to this day, but it's called Anchor. And all their beers have that nautical theme. So these 2 guys, obviously, they bought the brewery when it wasn't doing so well. It just had the 1 beer. And actually, it's gone from strength to strength and now produces 4 million pints a year. and about 80% of that, I believe, is their Plum Porter.
Yeah.
It is by far and away.
It's a decent drop, isn't it?
Oh, it's a cracking beer.
Really
Absolutely
good,
cracking beer. We've done the brewery tour there a couple of times, me and my brothers, and we'll have to do it, dude. Once we're on, we'll do it. I'll get in contact. We'll see if we can do a podcast from there.
Yeah, no, that'd be decent.
Yeah, I think so.
If we could go there and do podcast from there, maybe get, I say, an employee or get someone from there to actually just chat about Plum Porter or their vision of where it's going to get. That would be.
It is. I mean, the guys who do the tour, I don't think they necessarily all work for Titanic. I know we've done it with one guy who's been brought in to do it. He's like a local historian of the area, and they'll talk you through it, and he knows all the detail. And you take the tour, it's all well and good, but it's a really cheap day out. I'm sure it's about 15, 16 quid, something like that. And you get 4 beers in that and food and a brewery tour, and you can't really go wrong with that.
Yeah,
and it is a stone's throw from one of their pubs as well. I'm noting it down here somewhere, and it's something like the Bull's Head in Burslem, and that is a cracking pub, Andy. You'll like that because it specialises in Belgian beer as well. So
why haven't we been there yet?
Yeah, I know. We need
it's a stone's throw from a pub that does Belgian beer. It's a stone's throw away from where Adam is basically his favourite beer, and it's like 10 minutes down the road from where we live. So why have we not been there before?
Well, the last time we went there, actually, we did the brewery tour and we went back, and then it was my youngest brother Spongo and his mate Matt. We were in there, and we stayed in there far too long, to be honest with you. And they had a cider festival there, and when Matilda was very young at the time, Kim came to pick me up, and I predictably fell down the steps outside the pub. I was getting to the car, and then like Matilda was screaming like, "You need to give her the bottle in the back." Obviously, I was 11. And we were using baby powder. It's like literally you've given her water. All the powder's all over the back seat. It was a mess. I'm a good parent, I promise.
You try to give her a Plum Porter bottle.
That's it. Oh, no.
Well, she shut up pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. That's it, yeah. She slept really well that night, funnily enough. But yeah, back to the Plum Porter. They do 3 varieties of the Plum Porter. And we're on episode 73, and I have drank at least 73 different beers. So I've had a different beer on every single episode. And I've had 2 of the different Plum Porters. So I've got the regular one, which I've got to drink later. And I've had the Grand Reserve, which is port infused. And that's 6.5%. And that is rated 4.25 on the Untapped app. And the Grand Reserve, which is the only one I haven't drank on here, I did have some, but I drank it, funnily enough. And that is also rated 4.25, and it's also 6.5%. And it is a really good beer. It's matured for, I think, maybe 28 days longer, which makes it a stronger drink, but a much smoother drink as well. And when you add the port, again, believe it or not, makes it a really, really smooth drink. Plum Porter itself is 4.9% and is available in 330ml cans, 5-litre kegs, which I drank the first podcast that I had you guys on.
Yeah.
I had the keg of Plum Porter on there, yeah. I did.
See, I don't remember that.
I don't remember either. So I got through pretty much all of it at the end of the night. That was the one where we did the NFL episode and it was still right. Stuff.
Yeah. See, I remember the NFL, but I don't remember what you were drinking that night.
Yeah. That was a good episode.
It was a good episode, yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about one of my favourite beers. You know, each week I'm going to talk a little bit about something to do with craft beer. It might be a feature on a beer, it might be a feature on a brewery, or it might just be about craft beer in general. But that is the general consensus. And if you are long-term listeners to Tallboy Radio, and I hope you are, you'll know that what we do each week is we pick a different subject. Now we're going to theme most of these conversations round about beer, or if it's not about beer, it's going to be, we'll introduce beer into it in some way, some form, somehow. So this week we want to talk about bars and pubs of the silver screen. There's different boozes that you're familiar with, and actually when we first mentioned it, I know Andy mentioned one and an interesting fact about it, dude. So if you wanted to start off and kick us off talking about one of your favourite boozes from the stars that have taken part in a beer or two in it. Winchester, you mentioned.
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking of something else. Yeah, I got a Winchester on my list. It's one of my common phrases of when someone asks me to do something at work, I'm like, I've got a Winchester. I have a pint. Yeah, it's now a block of flats. 2007.
That's disappointing. That
Surely they should have made something of it.
Ooh.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether who.
Shaun of the Dead is a great film. It's a great film. I like horror films, and there's some really ropey comedy
parody.
But that is a really, really good film. And to it's one of those places that we could hopefully have done a podcast from. Obviously, we can't do now. From the Winchester, that would have been great to have a pint in there and dressed in the old white shirt and red slim tie.
You see, we definitely couldn't have a beer in one of the bars that I was going to mention because it was the cantina from Star Wars. So we definitely can't have a beer from in there.
The Mos Eisley cantina.
The Mos Eisley. Never will you
say that. We'll just have to go Florida or wherever it is, isn't it?
I don't know. Is that in? Because I know that was it Hollywood Studios are doing they're doing a big Star Wars world. So I don't know whether they've recreated the cantina. If they have, by the way, we're going.
Was it Disneyland? Because Disney now owns Star Wars, don't they?
It was either Hollywood Studios or Universal Studios. Ooh. One of them was doing a big Star Wars themed area, and when we went, however many years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, the kids, there were stormtroopers walking around. I thought it was Hollywood Studios, but it might not have been.
It's Disneyland in Florida, and there's the cantina.
Oh, it's there,
dude! Yeah. I'm definitely gonna have a beer from there.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Oh yeah.
We don't accept those kind of haywire, but the droids are coming in. Yeah, I mean, I'm a massive geek. I'm a massive Star Wars fan. You know that. There's people that listen to various podcasts that we've done. So the cantina for me was just brilliant. You got like Han Solo acting all sort of cool, and then is it Greedo, whatever. Greedo is like. Shoots him on the tail. It's brilliant.
It's the old argument of who shot first because different.
Absolutely. Greedo shot, but then missed, and then Solo shot him back. But in the first edit, you don't see Greedo shoot; you just see Han Solo shoot. So,
exactly.
So that was one of the bars for me. Was the Star Wars Cantina, and it's funny because obviously we were talking. It's like, bars from Silver Screen. I'm like, it's got to be that one.
Is that a place you'd like to? In the film, it doesn't seem like a place I'd want to inhabit. To be honest,
no,
it seems a bit.
But I suppose going as a fan, and if you knew you weren't going to get into the arguments and the tussles that you might get if you're in there in real life. But yeah, I can imagine that being. To be fair, I've been in a couple of boozers that I've walked in that felt like the Mos Eisley cantina. In real life, it's like, I don't want to be here. But if it's a place in Florida, I'll go.
100%.
100%. I'll go there, absolutely.
That's a new bucket list place to do a podcast from, isn't it? Well, funnily enough, I had another one which is space themed, and it's another place which you could have visited, but I never got the opportunity to. Quark's Bar from DS9. So we're not big Trekkies, but I've watched Star Trek in the past. I don't mind the show. But Quark's Bar on DS9, I actually thought was one of the more underrated stuff.
Yeah, I was more of a next gen than DS9, but I would, and I was thinking, what was it in next gen? I was like, is it like the Forward Lounge or whatever? It's like a really formal thing or whatever. I can't remember what it's called.
That's not for me.
But then because it's that little bit of villainy, that little bit of underhandedness, that little bit of
Tim was. No, it wasn't Tim. Sorry. There was a Ferengi behind the bar. It was Quark, wasn't it? That was it. But interestingly enough, they used to have in the Hilton Hotel in Las Vegas a Star Trek experience, which had a Quark's Bar in there, and you could get served by somebody dressed.
I thought you could get dressed as well. I was like, I wouldn't want that.
Yeah. Well, maybe, I don't know. Well, I borrowed Pete's outfit. I have to say, I'm slowly getting towards filling it. Sorry, Pete. So it closed down, unfortunately, in September 2008, and I visited for the first time in August 2009.
Dude, just missed it.
Yeah, we missed it, and we actually visited the Hilton, and it was all walled off. A lot of the stuff was still there, but it was walled off, and you couldn't see through. And there was all the Star Trek fans had little post-it notes, and they'd written on how disappointed they were.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, but on the day that we went there was no post-it notes available, but there was a pen. So I just wrote.
You wrote someone else.
I wrote on the wall. I left it blank.
I thought you were going to say I wrote somebody else's post. They crossed that out and wrote.
Spongo wrote on the wall and actually signed it. It's like, nice one, idiot.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that.
So, and there's a few bars actually, which when I was doing research in this, actually one, Cheers bar, that must have been one.
That was it. Nearly got on my list. It's like you want to go to there because everybody knows your name, now, don't they? You know, and I could start bursting into the theme tune and stuff, but I won't. I won't.
Yeah, you a fan of Cheers, Andy?
Boston, isn't it?
All right. Bit before my time, I think.
Oh, steady on now, steady on. But yeah, it is Boston, Boston, Massachusetts. But the bar itself that it was based on, they used the exterior shots out there. That's still there.
Yeah.
And it is called, I've got it noted down, it's from the Bull and Finch. And that was used for the exterior shots in the Beacon Hill area of Boston, Massachusetts, if you're familiar with that. And the inside apparently looks absolutely nothing like it.
It could just be a set, will it?
Yeah. So I think it was filmed all on set. However, there is a Cheers bar.
You see, I will drink in the Cheers bar.
Yeah. Sadly, due to COVID, it closed and will not be reopening.
Oh, dude. So, to be fair, I drink in the Cheers bar if Kirstie Alley, Ted Danson, Woody Harrelson were there. You know, just brilliant. And that was a show. You know, I say growing up and theme tunes, and we've done a podcast on theme tunes. So Cheers, you know, Hill Street Blues, MASH, you know, all those proper decent sort of 80s. But I'd drink it. I'd love to go to the Cheers bar, dude.
They have a Cheers bar in London.
Andy, why have you never taken us there?
Yeah, how many trips down to London? I know.
Pull your finger out, kid. Come on. I know we've been to Gordon's Wine Bar, and that's fantastic. And actually, that's not on my list, but wine bars, okay.
Yeah.
But so that we've been there. So you need to do your homework, Andy. Come on, pull your finger out.
I think I've chose a few good bars we've been to.
What was that one we went to? The Halloween, was it Porky? Was it Porky's bar we went to? Remember, we said we were going to go there, and then we'll go back and get changed and come back, but we just ended up staying there.
I say we literally
just stayed there.
Maybe
because the waitress or waitresses were.
Yeah, well, and maybe because you obviously had a part-time hobby while you're in there of criticising people on the foosball tables and the beer pong, commentating from afar.
Anyway, well, let's not go there. But no, so yeah, Andy, come on, pull your finger out. Find out where the Cheers bar is, and we're going there next time we go down. Which hopefully won't be too long due to COVID. And
I don't think it's going to be this year. I don't think we're going to get down with the NFL this year, are we, realistically? No. Although there are NFL fixtures at the Tottenham Stadium, aren't there, this year?
Yeah. But it's maybe 2022, hopefully.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. If we get a full fixture list down there as well, because there's only 2 games to choose from. Can't remember who's playing, but neither of the games, I apologise to fans of those teams, were particularly. I think Dolphins were the Dolphins coming?
Dolphins could be one. Jags, are they both the Jags? One of them is the Jags.
Are the Jags coming?
Oh no.
Because
it's not Wembley. I know it's not Wembley. I know.
I don't think the Jags are coming this time.
Not sure. I think the Packers, are they coming? Is that? Because they're the only team not yet to have come to London.
I think you might be right. That's one for Andy to Google.
Andy can Google that now. I'm pretty sure
the Packers are. The
Packers definitely haven't been. They because obviously they're the team in my conference. So
yeah, they are the only team not to win. I've got a funny feeling you could
be right. Maybe they're coming this year.
I've got a funny feeling one of the teams is from the AFC North as well. I can't remember if it's the Bengals or the Browns. I could be making it up. But no, certainly we won't be heading down to London this year.
Unfortunately, not this year, no.
No, I mean, to be honest with you, getting tickets to those games is a challenge at the best of times. Trying to get it when there's just 2 games on would be now impossible.
Yeah.
You'd be spending your life on Ticketmaster.
Yeah. Go on, Andy, tell us who it is.
Atlanta Falcons versus New York Jets.
Okay.
And then the other one, Jacksonville Jaguars v Dolphins.
Oh, so the Packers aren't coming.
So the Packers,
so maybe they were due to come to Wembley and then because of COVID.
Yeah, maybe that must have been it. Because I'm sure that was going to be ticked off.
I vaguely remember reading something that Aaron Rodgers, although having said that, I don't even know whether he'll still be with the Packers.
No, he said he doesn't want to play for them anymore.
So
he's theoretically played his last game for them. So we got one right out of those 4. That's not
Jags. We said, didn't we?
Oh, you said Jags, but I poo-pooed it.
So I got.
You got it right, yeah.
So, hold on, come on, dude.
Yeah, we were half right.
So, yeah. So hey, I'm going to chuck in another bar here, dude,
Sure.
and it's from another sort of, I say, genre that I love, and Andy might not enjoy this genre, but you will. Is the Prancing Pony?
Yes.
So it's obviously from Tolkien's world of Middle Earth and stuff, which is obviously The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and stuff. So the Prancing Pony, for me, it's brilliant because it's the first time that the Hobbits sort of get introduced to Aragorn, or Strider, as they know him, when they first meet him and stuff. And they basically get in the pub and they serve pints and they basically get leathered.
Yeah.
And then they make an absolute racket and this, that, and the other. And then obviously sort of Aragorn comes to their rescue, and he's like, he realises the significance of hobbits and this, that, and the other. But without going into the story, that would be mint.
That'd be another interesting one if they did a theme bar. There must be
There's got to be. I haven't checked, but there has to be a theme. New Zealand, I would imagine.
Yeah, I had a bit of a Google. I couldn't find one, to be honest, but there is a Prancing Pony brewery in Australia, which has got to be related to that in that sort of Antipodean part of the world.
Wow, okay.
So, yeah.
I wonder whether their beers are all named, I don't know, sort of Tolkien-esque or Strider or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. But, so that was one.
Please, yeah.
That was one. And then I'm going to throw one more because this leads into a story that you've told must have been on 30 different occasions on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
So
I think I know it.
So if I say the slaughtered lamb,
yeah,
that's going to lead you very nicely into your Brian Glover sort of story.
I can tell it again if you like.
Tell it again, by always do.
I've been to see the Canterbury Tales. So if you're familiar with Geoffrey Chaucer and you're fond of your literature, you'll know the story of the Canterbury Tales. And obviously one of the tales is the Miller's Tale, where it basically involves somebody getting a red hot poker up the jacksie. And it was Brian Glover who was playing the Miller in that one. And anyway, after we watched it, and it was very enjoyable, I went in a bar and Brian Glover was in there, and he was at the bar, and it was my ex-wife, actually, as I was with at the time, stopped me from going up to him and saying, "Remember the LMO," which is a line from one of my favourite films, America Werewolf in London, and that is my biggest regret in life. Not doing that, not having that conversation. He probably would have told me, "Piss off, I'm quite a pint, mate, leave it with you." Brilliant. Just for doing Chaucer, did you not know? And you're giving me that nonsense.
But for those people that don't know, obviously, Brian Glover starred in American Werewolf in London. The Slaughtered Lamb is the pub that is in American Werewolf in London, and it's all that sort of, stick to rules, you can't let them go out, the murder it is, sort of thing. And so that was, and I've got Cantina, Prancing Pony, Slaughtered Lamb.
Well, it featured a very young Rick Mail as well.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Rick Mail. Again, Andy's going to tell us that's before his time as well. Is that before your time, Andy?
Yeah. Look, he's nodding.
Yeah. Well, again, with this one, like you say, the Winchester is a block of flats. The Slaughtered Lamb was never a pub.
No, honestly,
it is in. Where are we now? It was the exterior is a cottage in Crookadarn, which is just outside of Bilthwells in Wales.
Dude, seriously?
Which gets a mention, as I mentioned a couple of weeks back in my Dylan Thomas's story. Yeah. Bilthwells gets a mention in that. And I've driven through Bilthwells if you're heading down to Tenby, or Dinbicky Pithgod, as it's pronounced in Welsh. Yeah, it was never a pub. That exterior that you see, which just looks like some old pub sat on the Yorkshire moors, it was never a pub.
See, that's heartbreaking, because when you do your research on the various pubs and stuff, and it said, never will you find a more a hearty campaigner for the camera real ale than you won't see any of these Ponzi, some mocktails and cocktails, and the only thing you'll happen when you go in there is you might put a guy off his game of darts, in which case you'll get a steely stare, and I thought it was a pub.
No. The interior of the pub, so it is filmed in a pub, but it is not in Yorkshire, is the Black Swan on Old Lane in Martyrs Green in Surrey.
See, that just doesn't quite have the mystique of...
But this is where you got to give... I love John Landis. I love John Landis's films. And then you got to give credit to the scouting in that, because who scouted those locations? Hats off. Because that pub, when you watch it, you are 100% convinced that those two guys walk into that building.
Yeah.
They don't. They are hundreds of miles apart. That's insane, isn't it?
It's incredible to think that the shots of the exterior and then the shots of the interior are just completely different places.
That's it.
That shocks me. That much,
because I thought this. When I did this, I thought I was going to be pitching the idea: road trip up to Yorkshire, go up to York, have a few beers there, and then go out and find this pub, have a game of darts. Whoever's going to make me miss is fine. I miss on a regular basis anyway. But I thought that'd be quite cool. But there is a slaughtered lamb pub in London. So Andy's research has been well.
Andy, come on,
you've not been tailing our experience for us.
Well, I'll just find meat and beer. That's all I do.
I'd like to think you get meat in the slaughter.
I'd like to think you get meat and beer to be.
I've made it some non-alcoholic place.
Yeah. But no, I don't. I've had a quick look at it, and it doesn't look anything like the sort of a theme bar. It has got like the Pentecost on the wall. A few. There's one in New York as well, actually, in Greenwich Village.
I'd rather go that one than London.
I think I would as well, because that one is a little bit more themed that way. But yeah, it's in Islington.
Okay.
It's okay. That might be worth a visit. So when we next head down to London, which will more than likely be for the NFL, I would have thought next year. Certainly, the next time the three of us would be headed down there. Those have to be places that we have to visit.
Yeah.
Don't you reckon, dude? Can we put that together?
I think so. We got the Belgian bar, Belco.
Yeah.
Beavertown Brewery. We got a nip near there.
Yeah.
Is there a brewdog place down there? Not that you'd.
There's a couple.
So there is a couple down there.
Actually, to be fair, I think they've done, not that we would frequent there, but they've done a non-alcoholic bar, I think in London. Brewdog really? AF. Is it Brewdog
they
AF
do,
bar?
They do a Punk AF, don't they?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure there's a Brewdog AF bar, and that's actually in London. It's open. It's a non-alcoholic one, I think. So
I'd be quite interested to see.
Whether or not we'd end up.
Yeah, as I say, we'll take a picture for the Twitter feed.
Oh, look, it's there. Yeah, let's go next door. Let's go next door to the Smithy Arms or whatever.
Yeah. Is there any others, Andy? Any other bars of the silver screen that fascinated you or interested you?
Yeah, I've got two more. The Drowning Trout from Snatch.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah.
Vinnie Jones is sat at a table and someone puts a gun to his head. That's an actual bar in London called the Jolly Gardeners.
So have we ever been there either?
No.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
It's not.
You give him one job.
I know you give him one job.
Literally one job. Tour rep. And what does he do?
To be fair, he has found us some good bars.
Yeah, to be fair, he's done okay.
But I think if we're going to do a pub crawl, which we always do a pub crawl, and then
what do you mean if we're going to do a pub crawl?
Yeah, that's true. That was just the childish thing to say.
Do you mean when?
Yeah. So go on, dude. What was the other one then?
The other one's the Horse and Groom. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the newer one, the remake one.
Oh, okay.
That's an actual pub called the Beehive in Buntingford, Hertfordshire. So, yeah.
Okay.
And I quite like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's just one of them weird films, like I don't know. I don't think I've seen the original one, but that new one is I just like it. It's on my okay list. I know the pubs are like that.
Well, there was one I noted down actually. I thought you had mentioned actually, dude, and that was Ernie's Crab Shack from My Name Is Earl.
Yeah, I probably should have done. I did. Funnily enough, I did have the one from Roadhouse down, but then I removed it because that got knocked down from years ago. It was all like
Roadhouse, yeah.
Patrick Swayze film.
Yeah,
good film that was actually. To be fair.
So I've drank a few Roadhouse style bars when we gone to the States, and they sort of theme different bars in a different way.
Yeah.
And actually, it's another one that's themed on films. Actually, I didn't note down was New York, and Vegas has a Coyote Ugly bar.
Well, it's funny because the Coyote Ugly, and there was also what was the one with Cocktail film with Tom Cruise in it. So there was that one. So there was
Australian dudes in it.
Anyway, so there was that themed bar as well when I was doing a bit of reading and stuff. But yeah, the Coyote Ugly one where they get on the bar and they actually dance and stuff.
Quite a good night out, that one by all accounts.
Yeah. Should we go there?
Yeah. The other one as well, which again I was fascinated with. Is it a place that I'd frequent? Probably not. But if it existed and it was real, I would definitely have a beer in there. Police Academy. What's the most famous bar there? Blue Oyster Bar.
Oh no! I thought you were going to say not Mahoney's. That's one of the characters in it.
Yeah. But the Blue Oyster Bar. The Blue Oyster Bar, which is not as it seems, because it is not a gay bar, believe it or not, in real life, and it's not.
But surely they're not going to be very happy in being portrayed as a gay bar on film and then actually not being one in real life.
It is. Well, it's a blues and bluegrass bar.
Well, blues bar, fair enough.
Yeah. But you look at it, and I don't know. It's that music when they're playing El Bimbo or whatever it is. When you walk in, you're convinced, and you thought, this is actually, it was filmed in Toronto, in Canada.
Okay.
I had it in my mind that it was set in Los Angeles. I'm gonna have to watch those films back, because the whole of the films.
Yeah, the whole.
It's
not Canadian,
films.
though, is it?
What?
The film, it's not Canadian, though.
No, it's an American film, but it was all filmed in Toronto. I've been to Toronto, I don't recognise any of it when I watched it.
Haven't been to Toronto, but then
It was bizarre. That's the name of the pub or bar. It's not the Blue Oyster, which I was disappointed to find out. It's called the Silver Dollar, which is actually a bit of a cooler name, to be fair.
Yeah, that's a better name. Yeah. 100%.
So my question is, if we've talked about those different bars and our favourite bars from Silver Screen, if you had to franchise one, which one of those is the most franchisable? Which is the one that you could take it and recreate it around the world and people would be interested in going to?
Well,
Cantina.
It's a Star Wars Cantina, surely.
I think you might be right there, dude. The Mos Eisley Cantina.
It's a Star, yeah, it has to be. Now, whether or not you'd turn around and say people dress up and go there and this, that, and the other.
Dude, yeah. And let's face it,
you never see a good-looking Wookiee, though, do you? I mean, you come on, I mean, seriously.
There's a strap line for a podcast. You never see a good-looking Wookiee. Hey, Andy's proved everybody wrong with that statement.
Just grow some hair on your head, dude, and that'll be you, honestly.
Well, no, I think you're right. I mean, in fairness to George Lucas, some of the costumes, some of the aliens in there are a bit ropey. So I think you could recreate some of it in fancy dress.
It's weird because I was looking at Mos Eisley Cantina and I thought, who does the music for Star Wars? John Williams. Right. Who does the music for Lord of the Rings? Yeah, it's not John Williams, it's Howard Shaw. I was trying to link them together. That would be the guy that would link them together, and I could get the link from my bars in and all of that sort of thing. But they're two different people, so I was like, gutted. Because to the franchises that obviously I love, sort of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. But yeah, I think out of the ones that I've mentioned,
definitely. I mean,
the Cantina is the one that you.
Yeah, I think so. It'd certainly be unique, and it's worldwide and it's popular.
Yeah,
so I think you get people wanting to have a drink there.
Yeah.
And you can get some quality merch.
So would you put it like Mos Eisley's? Or would it be like...
Just the Mos Eisley Cantina.
The Mos Eisley Cantina.
I think so. That's and then that strapline more... what is it then?
Was it never will I see a hive of scum and villainy or whatever? In fact, hold on. Andy, Google it. You're quicker than me.
Yeah.
So Mos Eisley... hive of scum and villainy, and then read that quote.
So yeah, we're pitching an idea out there. Entrepreneurs, we're coming out of, hopefully we're coming out of bloody lockdown.
Yeah,
so that's something to look at. Somebody out there do that for us, because we're too lazy to do it for ourselves.
So you've got a Mos Eisley Cantina in like Sydney and Melbourne and LA and New York and London and all these other
Barnsley.
Yeah, perfect. Go on, Andy, you've got it
there. Not quite. I'm just thinking it's going to be expensive to buy the rights to do that.
I think you involve George Lucas in it a bit. Mind you, it's Disney. Does Disney do bars? Or is it too adult theme for them? I don't know.
Just send him an email. Listen, George.
Listen, George.
We've had Andy.
Yeah.
Listen, Mickey. This is
yeah. Well, the other one is the Cheers bar, but I don't know how popular it is. Andy, obviously not something that obviously has interested you.
No, I've watched it a couple of times. For me, I think Friends was a bigger thing at the time. Obviously, that's just a coffee shop, and
I've just found the quote. It's you will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy than Stoke. I mean, full stop. We must be cautious.
Yeah, that's you stick that.
You put that, and you could get rid of. So you will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy, and then put in
Yeah,
and take your pick.
Well, actually, thinking about it, in Hanley, it was SD1 that closed
Stoke,
down, the old strip club.
Crew.
You know what I mean? I tell you, well,
all the places are close to us.
I don't know. In all fairness, you will find some more.
Yeah.
Crew, certainly on certain parts of that delightful town. Apologies if you live there. But yeah, I do think that there's some franchisable ideas there.
Yeah, I love the idea of the Mos Eisley Cantina. People come, they dress up in weird and wacky. I mean, you could go to London now, not that I've ever been, but there'll be some clubs in London where people dress up like you wouldn't believe. You know what I mean? So get them in the Mos Eisley Cantina.
And I say, this is the best thing about big cities. That nobody turns a blind eye to that kind of weirdness going on. Apart from small town folk
like us.
Yeah, wrestle dwarves and get excited when we see someone dressed as Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Dude, like there'll be dwarves in the Mos Eisley Cantina. Don't mind wrestling them in there. It's fine. Or the Prancing Pony, because there'll definitely be dwarves in there.
See, that's a night out. Dwarf wrestling in the Mos Eisley Cantina. Tiddy and China doing the commentary on it. And Gaz in the ring.
Get my ass kicked by 3 dwarves.
I'd pay to see that.
Top rope.
I'd pay to see that, yeah.
Suplex off the top rope. Bang! Get it done.
Come on, dude, with your back.
I'll be like,
I know they're only a little, but they can weigh a bit, them lads. Yeah, I tell you another one actually I've noted down. I've just spotted that I missed out. Was the Lamb and Flag from Bottom.
Yeah, you see, I wasn't a massive Bottom fan. I know you do. I'm not a massive fan, if I'm honest.
That's a good one. And that is a real pub. It's a real pub in Hammersmith, and it is called the Lamb and Flag. Used for the exterior shots again, the interior But you'll be disappointed to hear it's a different landlord. So in Bottom, he was called Dick Head, and that's sadly not the landlord's real name. Don't go in and...
Excuse me. Could I just speak to Mr. Richard?
Mr. Richard there. I mean, that's very typical of Bottom, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you see, I wasn't a massive Rick Mail fan. Never massively sort of got him. I know you loved him.
He's just a character. I think it was his character of Rick in the Young Ones. Really brought me into him because he was just.
You see, I didn't mind the Young Ones, but I didn't get him like subsequently, if you know what I mean. So
I've seen him live. I saw him live doing his new Statesman show, or the new Labour Statesman he was. That was a decent show.
Yeah.
That was a decent show. Yeah. You fan of Rick Mail, Andy?
Yeah. I was just thinking that I watched Bottom about a month or two ago, and it was the one when they're in the pub, and there's the guy who plays what's his name, the robot in Red Dwarf. He was in it. He's like a war veteran or something like that, and they steal his leg.
It was always inappropriate. Yeah, it was always deeply inappropriate. I never got to see the Bottom live show. I would have loved to see that. I know I had a couple of friends who've been seeing it, said it was fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely great experience. So I think we round about the hour mark now, which is where we like to wrap things up. We don't like to take up too much of your time. This one's out on a Monday night now, not on a Friday, just to drop into your podcast playlist timing wise. So we'd love to hear what you think about the new format. If it's your first time listening, let us know what you think. If you listen every week and you don't like it or you do like it, let us know. We'd love to hear it either way, positive or negative feedback. But we're going to finish every episode as we finish every episode by saying our goodbye. So who wants to go first?
Enjoyed tonight. It'd be great to get back to the guys, record the first time in, I say a couple of weeks. Love the new format. I think people will enjoy it. Shout out to Todd, Johnny Sparkles, guys that have sort of inspired me to think about the A for the ABC of our podcast this week. Look forward to where this is going to go. I'll chat to you all next week. Cheers, guys.
See you soon. Andy?
Yeah, it's a good one. You can't go wrong with pubs, beer, and all that sort of shenanigans. So, yeah. It's the next one.
Indeed. Yeah, on to the next one. And until next time, when no doubt we'll have plenty more stuff to talk about. Take care.